Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vassell and Sam Healy.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hello.
Sam Healy, what's up, y'all?
Every once in a while, a game is announced that surprises me, and this is one of those.
Yes,
right? Betrayal at House on the Hill has been a game that's been a cult favorite, I think, would be the thing of gamers, and to the point where they released another version of it just a few years ago, and expansion, Widow's Walk, just last year.
Correct, yes, that's right.
So they took that same game, Betrayal at House on the Hill, which is a go into this haunted house, and everything from every B movie you've ever seen shows up somehow.
Right.
And they put it into the very popular Dungeons & Dragons universe that includes Baldur's Gate, which was a popular computer game, but I think Baldur's Gate is also in the D&D books. Yeah. If it's not, in here, there's also references to Ravenloft and to other things. If you never played this game before, it is a game in which it starts off as a cooperative game, but there's a chance that there is a traitor halfway through the game. That's called the Haunt. They kept a lot of the same terminology from the original game. And then you face off and fight each other, and either one person wins, or you all win, or everyone loses, or whatever. In fact, if you want to see how a game works, we did a live play of it, so you can hunt that down.
That's right.
But here is a little bit more about how the game plays. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to pick a character. There are 6 different characters you can pick from, and you're going to pick whichever character you want to be. So maybe I pick the dwarf here, and he's Torskar Stonecleaver, or I can pick the other side, Alden Pyrite. Whichever side I pick, I'm going to be putting these 4 little attachments here on sliders on the side where the green numbers are. So he's a 4 in speed, he is a 4 in might, he's a 4 in sanity, and a 3 in knowledge. Now, the might and the speed are considered physical attributes. The speed and knowledge the sanity and knowledge are considered mental attributes. These can slide up or down over the course of the game. If any of them gets to the skull, you're dead, although you can't die except during the haunt. So for the first half of the game, you're safe, but they can drop all the way down to just 1 above it. The number that you have there is how good you are at that stat, and that's how many dice you'll roll when making a test of that attribute. The dice in this game have blank sides on 2 sides, 1s on 2 of the sides, and 2s on 2 of the sides. So if he was making a might test, he would roll 4 dice, and here he got a 3 on a might test. Like I said, things will go up and down based on what happens in the game. You also have a special ability. He has protection here. Here he would have reckless attack. Each figure comes with a model, and depending on how many players are in the game, you'll place the models in the Elfsong Tavern. This is a 3-tile connecting area. This is going to start the game always. And you also have the kitchen, basement, and catacomb landing. These also start the game, but they're not adjacent. These are adjacent to each other, the kitchen and the kitchen basement attack, but they're on different floors. On a player's turn, they're going to look at their speed. So his speed is on the 4 right now here. Let's say we're using the Stonecleaver guy, who has a 4, 5, 3, and 3. And so he gets to move 4 spaces. So when I'm moving the dwarf, I can move from a room to room, or I can go through a door. Now, whenever I go through a door, I'm going to look at what color that door is. In this case, the door is red. So I would draw from the building pile. If the door was yellow, if I was coming outside the Elfsong Tavern, I would draw from the street pile. And if I'm down in the catacombs underneath, I'll be drawing from a catacomb pile. You draw the top room and place it there. You're going to connect the door somehow. So this one has 2 doors, so maybe I connect these doors like this. This is the Hall of Wonders. There are special events, like this one says once per game. If you end your turn there, gain 1 knowledge. Well, fantastic. Also, it shows a symbol here which stands for event. There are 3 symbols that can show up: event, or omen here in the House of Blood, or item in this weapon shop. So you can see here, the buildings are all sorts of different inside buildings that you can have here. The street tokens are going to show things outside, like, sorry, that's a catacomb thing, but here we have a trash pile. Here we have a beloved ranger statue. Minkskin Boo were here. Oh, that's great. Marketplace, cursed statue, murder row, executioner's block. And then down in the catacombs, just the Smuggler's Drop, Rat's Nest, Weapon Shop Basement, Kobold Hideout, Shrine of Baal, Dusty Cellar, Neglected Shrine, etc. So when you move into one of a room with a symbol for the first time, you will draw from the corresponding pile. So let's say here's a random event. Cranium Rats. A horde of rats come out. Their overgrown pulsating brains extrude from their skulls. They are trying to reach in your brain to root through your memories. You have to do a sanity roll. So I check. My guy has, actually I'm using, I don't remember what side I'm using anymore. So Stone Cleaver has 3 sanity. So he would roll 3 dice. So I roll him 6. I overwhelm the rats and loot their minds. I gain 1 sanity. Great, but I could have taken mental damage. Different things can happen. So events, all sorts of things will happen. An item is something you can keep. I might find this Ring of X-Ray Vision, or this Ring of the Ram, or Caltrops, or Cloak of the Bat, or Chainmail, or Horn of Blasting, or Helm of Teleportation, or Holy Symbol, or Gambler's Dice. There's different items. And then Omens, Meanlock, that's a companion who will go with me, Pipes of Haunting, Eye of Vecna, Figurine of Wondrous Power. These are sometimes events, sometimes companions, sometimes items, and they all tell you exactly what to do on them. But omens are the most important part of the game, because when an omen is discovered, you might have a haunt. Now on a player's turn, they're going to be making the moves. If they come across something and need to draw a card, their turn will end. Other than that, you can go in different rooms. Some rooms you have to deal with outside that. Like this one says, if you end your turn here, you draw an event card. So you always draw an event card when you go to here. But after that, you might have to make a haunt roll. When you roll for a haunt, we look and see how many omen cards are there in general. So let's say I just discovered the 5th omen card. That means I need to roll 5 dice. I'm trying not to get a 6 because that will trigger the haunt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fine, that's no problem. Then someone discovers another omen. We now roll this many dice. 1, 2, 3, 4. The haunt still hasn't triggered. And the next time someone finds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the haunt begins. When the haunt begins, you will take the Trader's Tome. You will look in the first 2 pages, and let's say you just found the Berserker Axe. That was the omen you found. And you found it in Murder Row. Then 20 is the haunt you'll do. You'll look down here for 20, and whoever has the lowest speed becomes the trader. At that point, you will flip through the Trader's Tome, looking, and whoever is the trader will look through here and find haunt 20. They will read that page. I'm not showing it to you because it tells you how to win the game. It is possible that you will get to a page and there's no trader and everyone's just working cooperatively. Everyone else will take the Secrets of Survival and they will turn to the same haunt, so maybe here haunt 20, and they'll read what it tells you there to do to win the game. The trader goes out separately into another room or something and they read it. Everyone else will read theirs out loud together. And it will tell you the goal of the game. Now again, if it's a co-op scenario, which is 10 of the different scenarios, there is no trader. You're just all working together. At this point, all sorts of things can come into play. The game comes with a whole ton of tokens. And these tokens will be placed, you see there's banshees and trolls and minotaurs and a servant of Baal and spell scrolls and obstacles and an infernal machine and all sorts of things depending on the scenario. You might be fighting a lich, you might be fighting a dragon, you might be fighting some evil god controlling one of the other players. And so you will then at that point be going for whatever the whatever your goals are in the Trader Tome or Secrets of Survival. And so either the trader will win or everybody else will win based on what you are supposed to do there. Okay, before we jump into this, let's talk about what we think of Betrayal at House on the Hill, the game that this is based on. Like, what's your rating and thoughts on that one? Well, you said it's been like a decade since you played it.
Yeah, I'll count me out of this part of the
Yeah, I played it when I reviewed.
To be fair, I think you played it again. It's just called Baldur's Gate.
I played it when I reviewed Widow's Walk, and it's a game that I definitely, the first time I played, I was like, oh, this is crazy and kooky and fun, and I cooled on it rapidly. Because it is a mess mechanically. It's got a great, it's like, I mean, the B-movie analogy works.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like, what is happening in this movie? You can sit around and watch it and be like, oh, this is wild. But you like got the boom sticking in the shot and the lighting's off, and it's like, it's that, okay? That's what you're
Right.
getting. Mechanically, it's a mess. And sometimes the game locks up. Sometimes you don't know how to proceed. You have a character stuck in a room outside the mansion and who doesn't know how to get back in. That happened to me one time. I'm like, so following the rules of this location, this person is just out there? They can't walk back, stuff like that. So,
Right.
no, I don't like it.
I like it, but it's a once-a-year type thing. Like, hey, let's play this funny game here. And the stories are good. The problem that it had, like Z said, was several of the haunts locked up. That's only happened to me once personally, but there's 50 haunts, and I even had one where it was the same haunt. We're like, no.
Yes,
We're
right.
going again until we get something different. Because there's 50 different scenarios, and I think another 50 in Widow's Walk.
That's right.
The problem is that I don't know what happened. They just didn't proofread much at all. And just sometimes you'd be like, all right, here's the haunt. Oh, you won. Literally, someone could have just, or they take a turn and win. So
Yes.
now for gameplay mechanisms, and now you can come in because the gameplay mechanisms of Betrayal and House on the Hill and Betrayal Baldur's Gate are identical.
Pretty much.
With a few minor changes on how the haunt is revealed. But essentially you have a certain number of actions, you move into a room, you discover something, some sort of event.
Now, you spend your first half of the game exploring.
Right, you
Finding
explore
new
and you
places.
find weird, unique stuff. And this is a part of the game for me that is really good in the first game and tends to trail off because you're
know
finding
all
the
this
same stuff,
Yeah, you're
right?
finding the same
Like the
stuff.
first time we found the 10-foot pole, it was like, that's hilarious, right? You know, the
Next
second time
time
you
it
find
pops
like,
up, you're gonna
hey, it's a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, got
Right,
it.
of course, right.
But I do like that part of the game a lot. And I think if you are like a mechanical person, like, okay, whatever, just quick read the card, then don't play this game at all.
Yeah.
You have got to get into the theme
Where a lot
or
of
you're
the
not there.
storyline, a lot of the theme pops on you.
But what do you think about the
background.
mechanisms where you go through and you roll dice to see if you pass a test and you slide the slides on your character?
That's
and,
fine. I mean, it seems dated. Seems like
That's a good way to put it.
older mechanism that is just being kind of kicked to life again. But I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It just seems old. That's all.
Now, we've all played Baldur. Well, you and I played Baldur's Gate,
Yeah.
too. You didn't play Baldur's Gate, have you?
But again, it's been so
If I
long
did,
since
it's
I
been a
played
really
Baldur's
long
Gate,
time.
yeah.
Okay, well, I like the universe, and I wonder when it ends, I'm like,
I mean,
how
I
are they
like
going to take this
the
horror,
theme, though.
how are they going to take the horror
some of them.
theme and put it into D&D universe? But I thought they did a good job at that. It's pretty horrific.
Yeah, it works.
I wish they would have changed the terminology. That seems like a lazy thing that they did.
Oh, you mean like the haunt?
Yeah.
That doesn't
That's
make
a
sense. It
thematic
should be like the
disconnect.
mission or something.
That's a thematic disconnect, and the adventure, the mission would even be good. I don't know, something other than the haunt, because this isn't a horror game anymore. It is now a fantasy game. It doesn't make sense.
no.
I mean, it's somewhat horrific, but it's still not a haunt. The other one is called a haunt because someone in the house, in the mansion, is
haunting
haunted.
the house, yeah.
Like there is something that happened where a spirit embodies you or whatever, and you are haunted. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
All right, well, now we got to talk about components. Okay, there's 3 components of this game. There's
Look at that
the
smirk. Look at that smirk.
there's the miniatures, the pre-painted miniatures. There is the tiles, and then there's all those cool tokens. Yeah.
I'll give him this before we do that. Why are you all expecting me to rail on this thing? I'll give him this. The little clips that go on the characters are better. They used to fall off all the time. The little plastic
The only problem
sliders.
is now they feel like they might be ruining the
No,
card.
they're too good. Okay, I was gonna say that they're so tight that you slide them up and down, the cardboard starts to go.
It might
Plastic stays.
It might just be that they're new, though.
Maybe. I
Those
hope
things
so.
will wear out over time.
I hope so. Or the cardboard will wear out and then they'll slide. But the rest of the components, the tiles are okay.
I really like the tiles.
The
I like the
tokens
look a
that
lot.
represent everything, they're cheap. I mean, that's why they're what they are, because the game is cheap, right? If you put miniatures in here, you got to ask for $100 for it.
Yeah, but okay, I don't mind that there's no miniatures for the monsters and all that jazz. I mean, I replace them if I can, but I just wish there was artwork on the tiles. I don't want a little tile that says troll and
Again,
it just has the word troll.
It's cheap.
No, but this is Wizards of the Coast. They have the money and the artwork already exists. All they have to do is put that artwork on the tile.
I agree.
That's not a hard thing to do, and that. For me, that hurts the immersion of the game. You're like, and here comes the troll.
T-R-O-L-L.
And you're sitting there
It's
like,
bad.
oh,
It's bad. And then you have a massive counters you got to dig through. Which one is the troll?
Yeah.
Just grab one, slap it on there, call it a troll. Because it's the same thing.
This is one of the few times when I first got Betrayal House on the Hill, I didn't punch out the pieces for this reason. Because you're like, I need the lich, and you just look on it, oh, here's the lich, and you pump it out. And then someone played my game, and they're like, we helped you, we punched everything out.
No!
This one, I forgot to say that to the Punch-Out crew that I handed this box to, and they punch it out, and it's in a pile. The Punch-Out crew. Mike Tyson. Anyhow.
Yeah, it's bad. That's bad.
But what about the
just
miniatures?
lazy. It needs more artwork.
We passed to the expert.
No, I'm not the expert. But my opinion of the miniatures is that these are probably they're not bad, but they are also not good.
How about the bow staff of Doom?
Yeah, the bow staff of Doom. The mage is supposed to be holding this staff up, and it's supposed to be a straight staff, but it looks like a bow. So we jokingly called it the bow staff. And it's just stuff like that. It's normal stuff that you can fix, but man, the technology is there. People know the recipes of these different kinds of plastics and resins to where that doesn't have to happen. And again, like you were saying earlier, this is Wizards of the Coast. These are deep pockets, and they're choosing to use the cheaper stuff to cut ends, make it as cheap as possible. And I get it. You have better components, you got to charge more money. I got it. But again, at the end of the day, it's just not as fun to play with lackluster components.
I think it's a missed opportunity, to be honest. Look, this is based on what we could all kind of call a cult. I don't know if I want to say cult classic, but cult favorite. Okay. D&D theme. Right? It's a proven system to people who like it. I don't like it, but to people who like the system. Why are we going the cheap route with this one? This has years of development behind it. This is one that you could put a little more money into.
Yeah.
Why are we getting the cheap route again? They do have the deep pockets, but that doesn't mean anything if they don't actually use it on a product.
All right.
Of everything they come out with.
I guess they have a whole lot of different avenues that they do have to.
That's true, but of everything they come out with, either do it right or don't bother. This is one that they could have taken that risk on. I know it's a risk still with your money. Betrayal at House on the Hill, that's a risk with nothing behind it. That was a new property. This has D&D on it and Betrayal on it. Come on, throw some cash at this.
Well, let's get to some positives. I was worried when I heard about this that they were going to take the Betrayal at House on the Hill scenario book and cut and paste, delete ghost,
find demon, replace with demon.
All right, I was worried about that, but as far as I can tell, these are all very different scenarios. A good 10 of the 50 scenarios are fully co-op, and that was definitely not that way in the original game.
Yes, right.
There's definitely references to all sorts of things from the D&D universe, and they act, I feel, appropriately. It feels like, yes, you're in this little horror setting and all that, but you're finding cool weapons, you're finding treasures, you're fighting, and it feels thematic. And unfortunately, we have not played it enough to encounter a broken scenario, so we don't know if they exist. So far, I'm satisfied in that regard. You're going to have to wait till someone who plays all 50, because someone will.
But it seems a little tighter. It seems a little cleaner, and I do like the way the haunts trigger now. A little bit better.
Right. I do like that the haunts are going to probably be triggered at a certain point, because before they could have been triggered very
a wider
early
range,
or really late. Here, they're going to be triggered probably around the 6th omen or so at a certain point.
Right.
It's still dice chucking fun.
Yeah.
Yes. It's still, hey, I got this.
It is fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also crazy random sometimes.
Yes.
This is where we should win, and no, we lost here or whatever.
Yes.
But I like it. I would give this one thumb up, one 10-foot pull up. I'm going to use that.
Oh, he stole your 10-foot pole, man.
Stole my 10-foot pole.
I'll give it that because I like it a lot, and I would really love to play this around once a year. Get together, really get into the theme, read all the cards. When Z's not around, put on some background music, to get into that theme and have a great time. Right. And then kind of let it slip out of mind because I'll forget all the stuff in it to some degree, and when it comes back, it's fresh again. Okay. That's how I would play it, and I would really enjoy that. But I wouldn't want to play it all the time because it would feel samey after a while, and because I think sometimes the dice, I want to throw them across the room because those wild swings will stab you sometimes.
Yes.
So one 10-foot pull-up for me.
I'm going to give it one shiny rock up. And
where'd you get that rock, sir?
I found it in a room. I'm going to trade it with something without telling you. Disgusting.
Wash it first.
And again, for everything you said, it's it's a very light-hearted frolic, I guess you could say. This is not going to be something that the Eurogamers are going to enjoy, because this is just not their bag, right? I mean, it's not anything. There's not a whole lot of strategic thought put into this. There is, go here, what did I find? Okay, that just smacked me in the face for 2 points of damage. Go here, what do I find?
Yes.
That's pretty much what it is until the hunt happens, and then you have a little bit more, I guess you could say,
structure.
Focus or structure as to what you're trying to do. Maybe you're a traitor and you're trying to stab everybody else in the back. Maybe we're all working together because there's a dragon sitting in front of us.
Right.
That's all well and good. But again, there's a whole mess of other games that do basically this, and I love them so much more than this.
I will argue, I don't know that there's many games that do this exactly, though, that have such a thematic co-op experience. That's that contained.
I will say that nothing specifically is coming to mind, but I would disagree.
All right, what do you think?
I think I like it the least out of all of you guys. There's a lot of reasons for that. I don't care for the D&D setting necessarily. It doesn't do it for me.
Get out.
I can dig it, right? I can get into it like we did. If you watch the live recording, I get into it. I'll enjoy it, but I won't see a D&D game and go, ooh, yes. I don't care. I'll give it 1 5-foot pole up, which is half a thumb. Because I enjoyed it all right. I could see myself, if these guys want to bring it to the table, I'll play it. It's not the kind of game I'll have any interest in owning, any interesting in bringing to the table myself.
I think it's a fun game to watch.
Well, here's the thing.
Have fun playing,
It's one of those games where you have fun playing it because of the group that you're playing it in. You almost, sometimes, you have fun playing the game in spite of the game. Like, I remember one of the most memorable things during our live through was we were pretty much making fun of how the thing was written, that whole, you find a crack in the wall and there's a tentacle in it.
Yes.
And you lost it.
I did.
You absolutely lost it. You actually had him read the rest, and that was a great, memorable thing, but it was almost in spite of the game.
Yes.
But it's still a fun time.
The game facilitated that.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's fine. It's
Right.
fine. But I think the main thing I'll say, and you can take from it whatever you will, is that it's not for me.
All right.
And so listen to these guys more than me, I guess.
Well, there you go. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this and buy it anyway. And if you like Betrayal House on the Hill, you're going to like this game, for sure.
Yeah, it's the same.
I think it's a better version of it,
It's a better
actually.
version, yeah. That's what I was just going to say.
Well, anyway, that's it. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Thank you.
Sam Healy. See you guys on the flip side of the gate.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.